everybody, what's going on? We are live for the instant reaction of the Wheel of Time finale. Tyler and I just finished watching what was titled, Tyler, I believe it was titled the name of the book, right? The Eye of the World?
I actually don't know that for sure. but yes, we did just watch it. I think it was The Eye of the World, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was The Eye of the World. Obviously, we don't have a synopsis or anything. I didn't know the runtime. I didn't know anything about this until it dropped 7 p.m. Eastern, where we live. We watched it the second it dropped, and now we are here live to talk about it and hang out. So
right. Should we just dive right in, Jess? Let's just dive right into this.
Do we want to do scene by scene? Do we want to do overall thoughts? How do we want to do this?
I just want to dive in. Let's start talking about this thing, man.
All right.
So, because we start 3,000 years ago, right? We start 3,000 years ago.
This is something I sort of predicted. I wouldn't say predicted, but I said, I wonder if they were saving the prologue. Now, this wasn't the prologue.
Right.
This was a flashback to prologue times.
Right.
But I said maybe it'll come later, like in the last episode, and it did. Okay.
Yep. Well, yeah, kind of. It's still, not as good as the prologue, right? The prologue in the book is awesome, right? It gets you hooked right from the get-go. This was just finally a flashback to old Luz Theron. But it just starts off with what appears to be a domestic dispute. We find out that it's not his wife, but that's how we start off. But we do find out that is indeed Luz Theron. He's the Dragon Reborn. They even use his title, which I thought was weird. It's like, in movies when like siblings will refer to each other as like, thank you, brother, or like, thank you, sis. And it just feels so forced, like just to make sure that the viewer knows what the relation is. Right. When it's like in reality, people don't really do that very often. So that felt a little strange. But Justin, we see this futuristic Jetsons style world.
I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting. No, but I kind of dug it though. I kind of dug it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was all for that. And it's like, man, they really screwed stuff up. They had the Jetsons world.
Big time.
And then there it goes. But yeah, I was expecting
Rosie cleaning the house and right,
I know. I was hoping there'd be like a, meet Luz Theron, Alina, his wife. Like that would be really cool.
He jets in his puttering little jet.
I want to see more of that world, this futuristic world here. But alas, we only get a split second of it, and then we cut to the Blight. Right, we've got Moraine and Rand walking through the Blight. There's mushrooms there that apparently grow to look like dead bodies.
Yes,
very disturbing mushrooms. Anything else interesting happen in the Blight? I don't think
so. Well, but we've got to talk about the Blight. So Rand, Watt22, he says, "What's your gut reaction to the entire episode?" So I would say overall, I think it's the best episode of the series. I think by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any other episode was even remotely as good. And we're going to kind of try to go, scene by scene or high point by high point and kind of break it down. Cause there's things I liked and things I didn't like, is always the case with us. It's those logical things, even though we're in that magic world, it's the logical things that just bother me. But gut reaction, it was a good episode for the series we've had so far. Do you think that's fair?
Okay, you're couching that pretty substantially. I could agree with that. I would say, we've pointed out a lot of the flaws thus far, a lot of what we see as the shortcomings in the writing, the straying from the book so significantly without much reward for doing that. So it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But this one overall, probably the best of the series thus far. And I think it did do what we were hoping, Justin, which was we didn't think we were going to see a finale that would undo all of the sins of the prior episodes, but we were hoping it would be at least good enough to kind of whet our appetite for a season 2. And I think it did.
Yeah, I agree. I think it did that. So let's go back to the Blight. And now here's my logic problem with the Blight. Okay,
all right, let's hear it.
The depiction of the Blight is fine. We talked in our last episode review. I think that it's a little more crowded than the Blight is described in the books. The Blight is not a jungle.
Right.
But here's the thing I don't get is they're in there and Rand's talking to Moraine and Moraine's like, touch nothing. Right. She's like, don't touch anything. They have to touch things to walk through there.
So they're sitting down on it. They sit down on stuff when they're taking a break.
I'm going to get there. All right. So she's like, don't touch anything. Look what it'll do to you. And then they're walking and they're pushing things and they're leaning up against it. And then they take a break and they sit down on it and Rand and Moiraine are resting their heads against it. And I'm like, didn't she just say like, don't touch it, even though you
Right.
have to touch it to walk through it.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Don't follow that. And
okay,
another thing,
okay.
they keep taking breaks when they're like almost to where they need to be. Right. Like they did that when they were in the ways. They camp out, even though as you pointed out,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
like right by an
Daro
exit.
is like a sand wedge away, man.
Right. Right. So for you, what is that like 30 yards full sand wedge?
Oh yeah, it's 60 yards for me.
Right. So I mean, it was really really close. And then again, they like essentially see where they need to go, and she's like, "Yeah, why don't we cop a squat here and just chill for a little bit, touching all this stuff I told you not to touch." I don't get it, but that's what they do. And so then, and I just don't get why they keep taking breaks where they're just looking so fresh. They just don't even seem like they need it.
Yeah,
Not only are they
they
close
don't
to
seem
where they
like they've
need to
been
go,
working around that long,
they
but
weren't
okay.
even they hadn't even broken a sweat yet. And they look like they're in good shape. They look like they get their morning runs in, and
They
still
do.
they're taking all these breaks.
But
But so
when
yeah,
they
go
take
ahead, go
that
ahead.
break, when they take that break, we get the dream sequence with Rand.
Yeah,
Really the first one, which I don't know about you, I really, really liked it. And so I was like, okay, we've got
right.
the dark one. We see the dark one. Now he looked a little cheesy. We talked about how he looked like a flaming pumpkin head, basically, kind of.
Yeah,
Rand immediately, he stabs or kills Moiraine. Okay,
yep.
in the dream world, right?
So you know it's a dream already. Yeah,
So we know it's a dream already. So then we see the dark one, the pumpkin fire dark one. But then I love how Rand just shoots him in the face, and he's just kind of like and just like shoves it away, and like he reveals a real person.
oh,
And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And then
I don't know about this.
I don't know if I like that. And then the more I watched it and the actor and the way he portrayed him, and I was like, I actually like that the dark one
I
is like being
actually liked
portrayed
him.
is a real actor.
I actually liked him a lot. I really
Yeah,
liked the way that he played that character. I thought it was pretty cool. Although I
totally
thought it
agree.
was funny in that conversation where he's like, "What does it matter if it's a dream?" I'd be like, "What the fuck do you mean? What does it matter if it's a dream?" I think it
Of course
matters
it
a lot,
matters.
right? Like if
Well,
it's not a dream, then Moraine is really dead, and like I'm in a lot of shit right now. If it's a dream, then I'm fine. I'm just asleep, and she's
and do
still
you think
like, "What do you mean? What
if
does
you
it
would have
matter?"
said that, do you think the dark one would have been like, it's a fair point?
Yeah, he's like, I see your point. I should have thought more about that before I said it. I'm just really happy to be talking to somebody. There's not a lot of people out here.
I haven't
Looked
talked to
around.
anybody like 3,000 years. So
Like
it's
Jesus.
just nice to be interacting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a wasteland out here. So yeah, I apologize. But then I don't get this though. So Rand realizes he's in a dream, and so
Okay.
have you
Right.
ever
He
had that?
does.
Have you ever realized you're in a
So
dream?
they call it lucid dreaming, I believe,
Lucid
right?
dreaming. Yep.
And I would say that I can recall 2 or 3 times
Oh,
where
that many
I
times?
have totally lucidly dreamt, where I was like, where I could tell I was dreaming, and I tried to prevent myself from waking up, and like I woke up and immediately was like, "Damn it!" I
Yeah.
woke up and I knew I was dreaming. But a couple times that I can ever remember.
Yep, it's so hard to hold on to.
Yeah,
When I was really into like studying dreams for a while. I read like Freud's interpretation of dreams, which is pretty much bullshit. But I like read it, and when you're thinking about dreams all the time, you realize like you do dream every night. You're forgetting it all the time. But if you
yeah,
start thinking about it and practicing, like trying to memorize your dreams and write them down afterwards, you start to remember these things, and you can actually develop techniques for waking up in your dreams more frequently. And so I started to try to lucid dream more often. But man, it's like trying to grab water. Like the minute you
yeah.
become lucid, it is so hard to stay in it.
Right.
So I've done it a few times. But what gets me is so Rand realizes he's in a dream, and he's like,
Right.
I'm going to get out of this by stabbing myself in the stomach. So now remember, he doesn't seem totally convinced he's in a dream. Because he
Right.
keeps asking, like, is this a dream? He's not entirely sure. And
And
so
the
the
dark
way
one's
he
like,
does,
what does it matter?
right, which doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, but whatever. But then Rand is like, you know what? I'll figure this out. I'm going to stab myself in the stomach. Like there has to be better ways to
What
do
if
it.
you were wrong, bro?
That's what I mean. And
What
now
if
like
you're wrong?
you're just gonna sit there bleeding out of it, which they always say like getting stabbed or shot in the stomach is like one of the worst ways to go. I don't know, man. I maybe slit your own throat or something. Maybe slit the wrist. Just do it a more humane way than stabbing
Yeah, but that's
yourself in the belly.
weirdly enough, that's something I can let go. But I can't
Oh,
remember. Do you remember in the
not
books?
how I do it.
For anybody who's watching this live, replay, whatever, Tyler and I read the first couple books, so like we don't know the long end story. So, we don't know how much is really being cut, other than we read the first few books. And I can't remember if Rand gets out of his dreams by killing himself or not. Do you remember that?
I don't recall that. No, I'm not sure. Don't remember.
I can't remember if he would just wake up at a certain point or if he actually when he knew he was dreaming, if he killed himself to get out of it, like if that's a
I'm not
theme
sure.
where it's like the only way he can do it, almost like an Inception type thing, where it's
Yeah.
almost like you've got to die to like get your brain to snap you back into the next level.
Yeah, and that happens, man. Like I'm like about to die in my dreams, and that'll wake me up. Like I've fallen off a cliff in my dreams, and you
The
have that
kick,
feeling of falling.
the
Yeah,
kick,
and you really
yeah,
do. And then like
yeah.
you wake yourself up, and you still have that feeling for like a split second, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I'm safe in my bed. Like everything is fine.
Oh,
It's actually a great feeling to think that you were about to die and wake up, and you were just like cozy
and
in
then you're
your
just
bed.
like,
Like it's oh
nah,
my gosh,
nah,
thank goodness.
I was just dreaming. It's fine.
And then you just kind of forget about it and move
Yeah.
on. But so that happened and then we also have this kind of side thing that's going on where Lan wants to catch up with everybody, and
Mhm.
Nynaeve says that Moraine has a tell. And I'm
Yes.
like, I don't
So
know
I
what
took I
gambling
took a
has to do
note,
about this, but
right?
essentially, yeah, Nynaeve
Yeah.
says anytime Moraine has a good hand, what she does is she picks up an Oreo and she cracks it opens and listens to it.
Uh-huh. Now,
And
if she eats the Oreo,
right. If she eats the Oreo, then like, she's probably got the nuts.
she's
And if
got a
she's
good
got
hand.
the
Yeah.
nuts, like, it's just time to fold. And I'm like, "But why is that in for" I don't know how that's relevant to anything, but, but
It's not. It's not.
Nynaeve
But
brings it up regardless. I mean, I guess I'd be bragging if I had that strong of a tell on somebody. It would be hard to keep quiet on it, so I guess I understand.
so they don't reveal it, right? I
No.
mean, because I was like, well, is it listening to the wind? But she's a channeler. She can't teach Lan how to listen to the wind, and
Right.
so it's like as soon as she said that, I wrote it down and I put quotes around tell, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, does this seem like a plot convenience to the absolute extreme
Yeah,
to
it
get
was
Lan to go find her?
yeah. But they make you forget about it because then Lan starts dishing out some very cheesy poetry,
He
some
does.
slam poetry.
He does.
God, what was he say? Like your heart is as big as an elephant, and like it was so terrible. You're strong as a lion. Like oh my god, you're ferocious as an ox. I don't know what he was saying, but it was absurd. But that's fine. It's just
You're
a
as
real
ferocious as a male turkey during mating season.
right, and like wow, that is ferocious. And so then we move on from that. Yeah,
Oh,
Ishmael.
oh no, yeah. So I want, but the dark one too.
Yeah.
And you know what I loved about that whole thing? Of course, we see the in the prologue, sort of very edited, very changed prologue.
Uh,
It is Luce there in Telemon. He calls him by the full name, and then the dark one, which he does in the books, which he did in the show. I love that the dark one calls Rand Luce Theron. He calls him
right.
Luce Theron the whole time. I don't know why, but like I like that. Just the little things that pull me closer to the book make me
Mhm.
happy. And
Yeah,
so
and
when he calls Rand, he's like, Luce Theron, do you not remember this? Like, do
right,
you don't this or you don't understand that? Like,
right,
you thought Tam was your real father? Like,
right, you
it's
idiot.
don't you understand? Like, you
Right.
really don't know yet? You don't get how powerful you are that you can like remake the world in your image? Like, you can do
Yep.
whatever you want.
And like
Uh,
you came back here, last time with your posse, and I whooped your all
oh yeah,
asses,
I
right?
love that. He's like, the last time you came to me, yeah, thousands of years ago, you had 99 people who are more powerful than the next, and it's
Yeah.
like you came with one eye
One
Sedai.
nice
Like,
Sedai, what is wrong with you? Like he's almost insulted. Like, who do you
yeah,
think I
I
am? Like, what
I
did you
agree. And who do
forget
you
how
think
I
you are? Who do you think I am?
You're
Exactly.
right. Like, yeah, that was crazy. But then so the dream ends, and then Moraine gives Rand a trinket. And this trinket will
Yes.
make him super strong. Justin, this
Yeah.
trinket is it's like a Popeye's spinach, right? Like if he grabs this trinket, like his bicep turns into a battleship, and he's just boom,
Boom.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. And so we know he's going to have that in his back pocket. We know he's going to use that to destroy Ishmael like right away, right? The minute
Yeah.
she gives him that trinket.
The
But then
Sangreal, which is
the
fine.
Sangreal.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
that's fine. I
100
mean, that
times
happens in
power.
the
He
book.
goes full Super Saiyan. That's right. So
Yep.
super duper duper powerful. What did you think now? So we're getting to the eye of the world now, right? We're about to
Mhm.
get there. Whatever, it's kind of like a circle going down to the ground. There's these kind of creepy little steps, cool little steps
Mhm.
built in. But there's one big change, from the books is that, excuse me, is that the eye of the world is supposed to contain like an untainted, unlimited pool source
Right.
of the male source. Is it Sidene or Sidar? That's the male side. Either way, it's the
Right.
male side of
I
the
think it's
source.
Saidin.
And so like that is not there. right? I mean,
Right.
like, it's just it's not there. That's not what this is about.
In its place is
Um,
the yin and yang symbol,
in,
which I
in
thought
its
was
place,
a
you get the
weird
yin yang
switch
symbol.
out. Yep.
Well, they've shown that multiple times throughout the show, the yin yang symbol in a
Yep.
slightly different version, but which I do think is in the books, even like in the chapter pages, like that
Yeah,
isn't
but
an Aes Sedai. But I know what you mean. Yeah,
having a
I know
pool
what you
of power versus the yin yang symbol, I think I know which I would have rather seen. But okay, whatever. That's what we see in there.
mean.
So
But
then what
again,
else?
the Dark One. Well, we meet the Dark One, and now he is a human. Okay, and
Yep.
again, we said this earlier. I like the Dark One as a human. I
Yep.
do. I like the actor that they picked to
Me too.
play him. I thought he did a great job. And I just kind of like how he's a little more manipulative and just the way he portrayed the character. Now, who I didn't like is Perrin. I don't remember the guy's name
This
who
has been a
plays
reoccurring
Perrin.
theme with you. Yep. You're just not a
Yeah,
fan
yeah,
of
I
Perrin.
don't like the guy who plays Perrin. And now it could be writing, it could not be him. Maybe it's not. But you cut to the scene where he and Loisle are behind, and he was like pointing out the window. He's like, "What are we supposed to do? Just let them go out there and die?" And he like
Right.
points at the window, and I was like, "Whoa, that is some over the top cheesy acting, man. That
Well,
was
and I thought it was funny
oh,
that like now Perrin's not happy about the way of the leaf. He's like, I can't fight, I can't eat a fucking hot dog, like I can't do anything. Why am I following this absurd set of rules? Like I get it, man. Like I would be. He's probably just hungry at this point, right?
he could be hungry. Yeah.
He's just eating like little bits of
No, he gets a
salad and
little
like some
he gets a little
carrots.
hangry. He gets a
I
little
would get
hangry.
hangry, man. I
You
get hangry.
you get hangry.
The
That's
other
true.
day we
You
went to
definitely
try to
get
go to a
hangry.
restaurant and there was like a 40-minute wait, and I had to go get a hot dog.
You
Right? I
you
had
were
to go get
freaking
a
out.
hot
We had
dog
to
because I was hungry. I was
That's
a whirling
absolutely
dervish of
true.
hunger. It
Everyone
really
else is
happened.
like, "Oh, we can wait." Tyler's like, "I have to have a hot dog. I have to have
Right.
a
I
hot dog."
couldn't just be like, let me chew on a piece of celery while we wait. And like, no, it's not going to happen. The way of the leaf is just not for me. I'm sorry. But I understand why Perrin is so angry. So no,
Let me see.
another side thing that's happening, Justin, is we have the whole the Trollocs are attacking Faldara, and we've
They are
got
now. What did you think of this whole Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, scene?
well, I'll tell you what I thought, Justin.
Okay, this is why we're here.
I'll
This
tell
is
you
why
what
we're
I
here.
thought. So if I were one of those Trollocs, right, this is the one thing I just don't understand. They have a whole wall of people just like shooting out bows, shooting out arrows and stuff.
They
And
definitely
that's
do.
coming. We've all seen movies, including
It
Trollocs,
always
right?
happens. That's how you defend a wall, of
They
course.
always rain down arrows.
Yep.
Why on earth are you going to be one of the first people running out there? I can't even
Yeah.
a Trolloc should understand. Like what I would do is I'd be like, if they put me on the front lines, they'd be like, okay, like let's go. And I start running, be like, oh my God, my shoe. And I would just like
Oh,
lean down and be like, oh my God, it's untied. Look at and that wouldn't you know it? The
I
other one as
forgot
well.
my axe. I forgot my axe. I go get my
Right.
axe.
God, I left it in the back of the truck. I'll be right back, guys. Don't even worry about it. And like just let
You
them go
klutz.
first and then you follow up the rear. Like just be smart. Just think. So yeah, we have that happen. I mean, that was
Yep.
okay. Some of this talking kind of dialogue scenes here I thought were kind of funny. Like we have what's her name, Lady Jagad, what's her name, Amelisa or whatever.
I don't remember. Is that the Faldaran King guy's sister?
Yeah, and then and
Okay.
there's the king guy, like the Lord Jagad or whatever it is. But like how she's saying, like the gap won't hold. It's not going to hold, and he's just kind of like, yeah, no, like, absolutely, we're doomed. Like
Yeah.
the whole world is fucked. We are done for.
Yeah.
And so, but then even though they're saying they're done for, then they suddenly change their tune, like in the same breath, and they're like, "But we're actually not done for." And you know what? We're
Because
gonna
he
hold
was
this
like,
castle.
notify everyone that we can in the world.
Right.
We're gonna help everyone. That's our goal now. And
Yeah.
then she's like, we won't fall. And
It's
he's
not gonna
like,
fall.
and he was like, yep. And I was like,
they did like
and I
the
was think-
Troy and Abed.
I was thinking Troy and Abed in the morning. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
That was sweet.
But yeah, so they do that, and then they try to make a stand. Now, here's my problem with this whole thing. Now, we talked about the season feeling rushed and how we just don't know enough and we don't feel enough. Like I don't. Before they say the name Faldara multiple times, and I think they do it on purpose for the audience so that they can say, "Oh, we're at Faldara," whatever that is.
Mhm.
Because I just think like we're having the Helm's Deep moment, really in a very similar fashion. Only we're having it in a random place with characters we just met that we don't know or care about in a city we don't care about.
Another recurring theme.
And so we just, it's kind of like, okay. And then the channelers are going to go stand outside and try to channel and shoot lightning at people. And okay, that's great. I don't know why they couldn't have done that maybe from like up on the wall, maybe.
Right. I mean, like, yeah, get some safety for yourself.
Maybe,
And
but
then Annalisa, she was like full on raping those other
yeah,
girls of power.
she like went crazy, didn't
She
she?
got
In
thirsty.
that moment, she
Yeah,
got real
thirsty
thirsty
for
in that moment.
for that power. And then of course Nynaeve burns herself to death trying to stop the, but of course she's fine. Don't
I
worry
didn't
about it.
buy that for a second.
I know. It's
The
just
Min, Min seeing her like as burned up and like falling down, and that little vision she saw,
mhm.
I was just like, boy, is that a misdirect? And Nynaeve is not going to die. And then it looked like Nynaeve died,
Yeah,
and I was
but
still just like, I mean, Egwene's got to bring her back, right? I mean,
yeah,
she does.
I mean
And they
that's
try
just
to
what
just
happened.
cut. They cut to a different scene or two real quick before they go back, and then Egwene brings Nynaeve back. But
See,
you knew that was going to happen. You
I
knew that
know,
was
but
going to
it's just too bad. And this is because we have to talk about our obligatory Game of Thrones reference to hype up the next season.
please,
They do, of course, pay us to make sure to mention this on every stream.
of course.
It's like a Game of Thrones. What made it so good is it really felt like there was stakes for the main characters, and that when they died, they would really die. Main characters you loved. And this show, it just seems like they'll introduce a new character we don't really know much about and aren't invested in, and then kill him, and then spend a lot of time having the other characters mourn their death, despite the fact that we aren't mourning it because we don't really care. And then
Right.
anytime a main character dies, it's a vision, or they'll be brought back immediately. Lan has a throat slip. No, he'll come right back. Nynaeve her face just got burned up. No, she comes right back. Moraine got stabbed through the throat. She's dead. No, it was just a dream. Don't worry about it. It's like, come on. How many times
fake out deaths? The fake out deaths are
it gets old very quick. It's like if you're gonna kill him, kill him. Yep.
Yeah,
If you're gonna kill him, kill him.
So I don't know if I'm going to go a little bit out of turn, but I think so. Now we're in the eye of the world, and he goes down to the yin yang, right? Yeah. And he touches the yin yang, and he falls into a dream state. And now, I really like this scene. I like this whole visual, this whole thing, where he's in the cabin, because I was like, he has multiple meetings with the Dark One, where he's in various places, and he's in cabins, and he's living his life. And I actually like that they did this, and this was like a future vision of what their life could be. And so it's Rand, and he walks outside, and it's Egwene, it's the baby, and Rand tries to ask Egwene a question to see if she would know the answer. Now, I thought that was a very smart thing to do, because he was noticeably skeptical immediately. But boy, did he take a long time to get to that question. Am I the only one that thought that? I feel like the setup to that question, he was like, and we were here.
He could have just been like, what did we call around that tree?
We grabbed this car, and I'm like, oh, you should have asked about the car. He's like, right. And then we went and we drove and we were listening to this song. And I was like, oh, you should have asked about the song you were listening to. But like he did that repeatedly until he finally asked like what they carved in the tree or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I get that. I like it. And then the freezing of time. I love it. I love the freezing of baby and the freezing of Egwene when then the Dark One appears. Yeah. And has his little moment with him. I really like that.
Yeah. The only thing, with that, it's like, why are you seeing that vision in the first place? How would the Dark One know that unless they're reading your thoughts and feelings in some way, right? You'd have to still be suspicious about your little question technique, because it's like, well, can't the Dark One just read your mind, right? He's in your dreams, making you see things. Still got to be suspicious. I'd start retracing my steps. How did I get here? What do you mean I got here from the eye of the world? How? That's not my, my last memory was that I was there. So I don't know. He could have been a little more inquisitive.
Yeah, it's like an Inception thing where they're meeting at the diner, right? And Leo DiCaprio's like, "How did we get here?" And she's like, "Well, you son of a bitch!
You got him.
You son of a bitch! I'm in."
Me. Yep. But I thought it was funny too when Rand goes down into like the eye of the world that first time, and he's like looking around. He's like, "I've been here," and he's like, "But the pieces don't fit together. It's like a puzzle." And I'm like, "What puzzles are you doing?" Like, the pieces of puzzles do fit together.
Well, yeah, they always fit together. Actually.
Like that. That's exactly like that's the definition of a puzzle. So I don't really know what he's
right. Like a puzzle.
Right. He could have just said like, I've been here before, but I don't understand. It's like a puzzle, and I can't put together the pieces. Like that would make more sense. But to say like, the pieces don't fit together, it's like a puzzle. But like, well, then it's not a puzzle. If the pieces don't fit together, then it's not a puzzle anymore.
You just have things. You just have
right. You just have have like this doesn't fit together. You know what I mean? It's not a puzzle.
It's like a puzzle.
It's not like a puzzle, right? They have to fit together.
It's like a puzzle.
I guess, according to Rand. But then Rand passes out, and then obviously he has his dreams about his, his retirement that he wants to have with Egwene and having a
Yes,
baby,
of course.
living by the water like we all
Yep.
want.
Well, we all want a place in the water. It's
We all
expensive,
did,
though.
yeah.
Ugh,
It's so
real estate's
expensive.
so
But
expensive.
then Ishmael really shows off his power, though. Again, the men wielding the power seem to do so very subtly, and the women seem to be very animated. I don't know why they're
Yep.
doing that particular thing. It's Logain, right, is just kind of walking and wielding it. And now Ishmael is just like twitching his fingers and wielding unbelievable power. But then like the women do it and they have to like do all this stuff. And I'm like, I just don't get why they got to do that. Make it look cool, like they're making it look cool for the guys. I just don't understand why they're doing that. Obviously, a
was the
Macarena
Macarena.
and Three Amigos reference combined into one.
You are absolutely right.
I
that
nailed
was
it.
the Macarena and the Three Amigos. Well
And
done.
Justin,
well done.
those dances fit together like a puzzle. That was like a puzzle
they
because
do.
they fit together so
like
snugly.
a puzzle. You see that everything, the wheel of time turns.
Just keeps on
Yeah,
turning.
that's right. Everything just keeps on rolling.
So, but then what else do we have happen, Just the one thing?
Okay, well, we see the Horn of Valir is underneath the throne in Faldara. I don't remember if that's the actual location in the books of the Horn of Valir.
Spoiler.
Now, the Horn of Valir, well, that's what do you mean? They show it, they grab it, they get it.
Well, they just show a box, right?
Well, but they say it. They say the Horn of Valir.
Does someone say it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't recall anyone
the Horn
saying
of Valir. And so
okay.
they get it, they chisel it, they take it away. Now, the Horn of Valir is like the big item that's the center of the second book.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see
another trinket that people are going to really
another
want.
little trinket. We see Padon Fane take it, right? Eventually, and he's like, peace.
Yeah, can you believe that? The Diddler's back. The Diddler's back.
Padon Fane the Diddler.
And he kills the Ogier. He kills
Yeah, so what was up with that? I was like, now again, is this fake out death? Is Perrin gonna walk over and heal him? Like, is the first scene we see in the second season? Because Low Isle, I think I've read the first 3 books, and I'm pretty sure Low Isle is alive the whole time. And I'm like, I don't know how long he lives, if maybe through the whole show. I wonder if like just getting that guy in the makeup was such a pain in the ass. They're like, we got to kill this guy.
like fuck this. We just
let's
have the Diddler kill him.
Let the Diddler kill him. There's a much better way to just dump exposition on people than just having Low Isle do it very awkwardly. And he looked very goofy throughout the show. Again, I just his whole look, the makeup, everything was just too much. So as much as I love the character in the books, the character as he exists in the show, I'm happy that we're not going to have to see him anymore, assuming he doesn't come back and it wasn't a fake out death.
That was actually just another dream segment that they'll pick up. It was actually a simulation, Justin. So it's going to be just fine. But yeah, and so then Rand decides to turn against the Dark One. He eats his spinach and he blows up Ishmael like Agent Smith in the Matrix. A little disappointed with this.
Thank you. So I wrote anticlimactic in my notes.
Yeah, like he just kind of stood there while Rand blows him. And I'm just like, what the heck? Why don't you put up a fight of such? He was just showing how he just owned Moraine with like the flick of his fingers. You would think he could at least put up a fight. And in the book, they're like, I remember a big epic battle that happens, and he's jumping through to places. He helps out on Faldara for like a second. He jumps around, he's torching everybody.
And it's not just the Dark One in the book, right?
No,
and again, book spoilers. If you're really worried about the book, he has a few of, what are they called? Is it the Forsaken, or am I thinking of the Brandon Sanderson?
I wanted to say Forsaken too, but now you have me doubting myself. It's something along those lines.
But there's like a number of chief guards, basically, if you want to call him, like
the inner circle.
His inner circle, his Knights of the Round. He basically has like a group of, and what it seems like is our heroes fight one or two of them in each book, is what it seems like. And so I believe he fights 2 of them in the Eye of the World. And of course, there's no one else there. It's just the Trollocs and the Dark One. But the fact that the Dark One stood there and just watched Rand, right, go Super Saiyan into the Sangreal, and then just sort of like explodes him, but not really, made me feel like we're not really dealing with the Dark One yet. Like, I was like, this was, I think, purposefully anticlimactic.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm like where it's just meant to be like that was really just a manifestation of the dark one. It was really, it's not the dark one. It's like
Sure,
it's
but you
just
could
this
still make
thing.
it sweet. I mean, and
Well,
then that only builds up the, like, man, if that's what it takes to kill these guys, can you imagine what it'll take to kill the actual dark one? But instead, it's like, oh, but killing these dudes is a piece of cake. I mean, it's really not that hard. He
yeah,
just needs one of those trinkets.
he just needs a little trinket. He's got to get himself a trinket. But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought that was a little weird. Like you said, he's kind of channel all the power in, and he's just like and then he
yeah,
sort of blows up, disappears, but not really, and then it was over.
yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I don't know why. I don't know why, but like it seems like it was meant to be an epic moment, but it did not feel epic to me.
Definitely did not. That was a bit disappointing. So, and then that's pretty much it. Then Rand decides to fake his death, go into witness protection for whatever reason. I'm sure he thinks the Dark Ones people are out against him, and they want him to, stand trial and stuff. So he's going to be hiding out for a little while, probably under an assumed name, working in an Orange Julius or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Or a Cinnabon.
Maybe a Cinnabon, something like that. Working
Isn't
just
that
for
where
chips.
isn't that where Saul Goodman works? And I think
That's
he
right.
works
He
at
does work
Cinnabon.
there.
Yeah, he works at
Yep.
Cinnabon.
But so let's think then, Justin, about how. Well, then too, we didn't even
Well,
say. Then
let's get all the way through it, and then
that's
we'll
right,
then we'll
because
go into random talk. So
that's right,
so
because Lan shows up a bit late, and I had
yeah,
been wondering. We still have not seen anything out of Lan. Like, we saw right away, we see him let Moraine get her ass kicked, right, and get
yeah,
injured, like right off the bat, almost die.
yeah.
Then we see him when he faces Logain, gets his throat slit. Then we just see a bunch of stuff about, oh, he's good with kids. Like, who cares? He's supposed to be this
And then
killing
he
machine.
he
I
nails
don't.
Nynaeve, and that's
Right, he nails Nynaeve, and then he shows up late to this huge battle, and it's like, I think from what we've seen, he was like hiding behind a bush, like waiting for everything to die down. You know what I
and
mean?
then he
He's like,
was like,
holy
"What
shit!
happened?
Like,
Oh,
you're right.
Moiraine, are you
Oh my,
okay?
I just got here. Is everything
Oh,
fine?
I
Like,
just
that,
arrived."
this guy is a coward. I'm not feeling what Lan is cooking,
But
but yeah,
we see that the Dark One took the one power from Moiraine,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
so I can't remember if that happens in the books. I don't think it does.
I don't recall that it did at all. No, I
So
don't
some
think it
big
did.
changes. Loisle is killed.
Stabbed by the diddler.
Moiraine stabbed by the diddler. Moiraine. What a way to go! What a way to go to get stabbed by the
A
diddler.
diddler of all the ways to die.
Of all the ways to
For
go.
that
And
guy.
then Moiraine loses her grip on the one power. Now I wonder how hard that's going to be. And do you recall that? And again, it's been such a long time. Does Rand run off by himself? I mean, he doesn't, right? In the book, he doesn't leave by himself. I honestly can't remember. I mean, again, we've only read the first couple. It was a year or two ago, and I
Doesn't
can't
he?
remember. I don't think this happens.
I
I
don't
get
think.
why
Doesn't he
he's
go?
walking away.
Right. I think, doesn't he like go back to Faldara, and then eventually he, like, because he stays there for a while and then he
Eventually, kind of
leaves
goes and does his own thing.
because he's
But
starting to look for the horn.
right, but even like when they have the horn, they're okay. I don't want to get into the next book and the other
No,
things.
but
We don't want to spoil the books.
yeah,
What little I remember of
yeah,
the
but
Great Hunt.
I don't think he just dips. I don't think he just
No, I don't think so either. I don't think
no,
so
I
either.
don't think that's what happens.
Let me see. Okay, so now what's up with that broken rock? So
Yeah.
Moiraine is holding some like white broken rock, and she said what the name was, and I didn't catch it.
Hmm.
And Lan's like, "How can that break? It's impossible." And she's like, "Yeah, even the one power. What does that mean? That means this was not the last battle, just the first." And I'm like, "Well, because a rock broke? Because of,
I really wish
and I was
you
like,
were.
"What? Why?
Dude,
How?"
I want to see you like in every role, just as Moraine. Like, the stone isn't broken. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Like, how could that be? You sell these things so well.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank you.
But
Rob,
so
what's
yeah,
up with that? What's up with that
what
rock?
I know,
Well,
right?
that
I
means
don't
that
know.
the last battle is coming. This was just the first battle. What?
What? Get out of town.
But Lan,
Uh,
Lan isn't. It would be better if Lan was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
What are you, Jesus? Like, you lose the one power
Instead,
and you're talking
Lan's like
nonsense.
this. Lan's like,
Yeah, which is the most brooding we've really seen him look in quite
yeah,
some time. He's
just a brooding look off to the
he's
side.
just
But
been kissing
whatever,
babies and playing with
whatever
family
the
members. I
Broken
don't know,
rock
man.
means? I don't know.
I don't know.
Um,
But
what did
no,
I
so
say? People. Oh yeah. Okay. So before we just go into random stuff, sorry, did you have like a point about?
I was going to talk about how accurate our predictions were slash
Okay,
weren't.
one more thing before we get back into that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get what is a essentially a post-credit scene, but it's not really a post-credit scene. It's just
Mm.
like the story has wrapped and then we get a scene. And we
Yeah.
see a young girl on the beach, okay? And
Yeah.
then we see these ships coming in and all of a sudden we see these really weird looking people come out and start channeling tidal wave. Okay.
Right.
Now again, I want to stay away from book spoilers. But I will say I
But here
remember
we
who
go.
those people are. I remember who those people are. I'm
All
very
right.
excited to see who those people are. And I think what those people do is one of the darker, more interesting twists of the second book, which I think hooked me to the second book so much.
Mhm.
And I actually it is that thing may be the thing that excited me the most about the second season because I was like, are they going to go book by book? It's only 7 or 8 seasons, 14 books. Like they're going to
So they're going
skip
to have to
plot
skip stuff.
lines,
Yeah.
and so it's like, what are they going to skip? But that just confirmed to me that they're going to be introducing the characters that create one of I don't know if you'd call it a plot line, but really like a storyline that I
Mm.
thought was the most interesting of the first 3 books.
Right.
Without spoiling it, I think. I'm not
Yeah, no, I
spoiling
don't
it.
think that's spoiled. Yeah, it's just that little taste they gave is just kind of a nod to the people who read the book saying, "Hey, this is what's coming." So yeah, I think that was good. So now just let's talk about our predictions we made.
Well, our
Now,
major prediction was wrong.
yeah, so like one was we said we were almost 100% that we were going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy moment
Oh,
in the
yes.
final fight, but in our defense, we did get a Guardians of the Galaxy moment. It was just with Amelisa, Egwene, and Nynaeve linking up their powers so they could destroy
That's
the
true.
Trollocs. So we got it, just not in the
Not how
spot.
we I would still call that a fail for us,
Yeah, I don't know.
because,
I'd say those were the Guardians of Faldara, and
well,
so that's what we saw. But yeah, not quite right. But
no.
I'll give us a half point.
Our prediction was that our heroes, the Emmons Field 5, would show up, they would find Rand, and they would do something to help Rand. And so
Right, link up their powers in some way or
that
something.
did
Yeah,
not happen.
didn't happen.
Rand, quote unquote, defeated the Dark One on his own. And really, I wouldn't even say he defeated the Dark One. What I would say is he resisted the Dark One's call one time.
Which exploded him.
Which, but,
So,
but 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 really, and it's like all he did,
yeah.
and it seemed like they built it up, but they didn't, and that's why I said it seemed to me like they were building it up like this is just a shadow of the Dark One, and he was
Mhm.
trying to turn him, and Rand vanquished the shadow. I think of it like Voldemort and his the Horcruxes. It's like this was just a part of a soul, and he vanquished it, and like
Right.
that's it.
But
And
like with the Horcruxes, it was normally a pretty epic battle to do that. And with this, though, it's not just a Horcrux, right? It's an actual person that wields an enormous amount of
that's
power.
okay,
You would
true.
expect some sort of epic battle. And to me, again, having an epic battle there only builds up the Dark One that much more. Because if it's so hard to beat these mini bosses, then man, it must
The
be
Koopa Kids. It's so hard to
right.
beat the Koopa Kids.
Right, if it's so
Now
hard to
they're
beat the
super
Koopa
easy to
Kids,
beat.
then I know, but Bowser's kind of, so yeah. But I'm just saying, it really felt like there should have been some sort of a battle there. A little disappointed there wasn't, but
But
overall, did like a lot of the scenes leading up to that. Really liked Ishmael's character again. I thought he was awesome. But yeah, just
yeah,
disappointed I didn't get to see him really show off his badassery. Little disappointed.
yeah, I would agree. I would tend to agree with that. So there are some things that like I do like the end in a way where not every episode, not every ending, not every finale has to have a big gigantic battle that is over the top where it seems like it's the biggest battle that ever lived for it to be epic. Like we could always
Mhm.
point to Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, you haven't seen it, what's going on? Season 1 episode 9, of course, Ned Stark is beheaded. Now, is there a big battle? Is there magic everywhere? Is there a gigantic explosion? No, but that was on the edge of your seat television where it's like you can rewatch that moment
Yeah,
over and over and over, and you will get chills
and
every
I
single
have,
time
and I
because
do.
how powerful it is and how well it's shot and how it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, that makes sense. What I wanted doesn't make sense, and what happened makes sense. And yet, what we get in shows like this typically is just the opposite. So, like, I liked that the battle really took place internally in like Rand's mind. Do you know what I mean? It was more like an internal battle of Rand
choosing good
deciding
versus
to
evil.
choosing what he wants at the expense of everyone to get what he wants versus putting his own personal wants aside to try to save the world, you know, from the Dark One.
Well,
and so, like, I get that it was internal. I love the scene and like the freezing of the people. Again, we said I love the actor who portrayed the Dark One.
You're a sucker for frozen babies.
I'm a sucker for if you freeze a baby in a dream sequence scene, you've got me. You've got me hooked. You know what I mean?
Time.
So every single
But I get you. Yeah, it was his choice to, you know, he could essentially have everything he would ever want in the entire world, but his whole question was, but that's not what they want. And I know what they, and so like it would never be real to me because I know that's not what she wants. So I agree with you. I did think that was an interesting dynamic. I was just hoping, okay, then he pops out of that. And then I don't know, a sword fight or something, you know. A sword fight. Just do something.
And then
a karate chop
pull
battle.
out their fencing swords and they're like, oh yeah.
Right. Is that what they're pulling out? The way you were reaching down? they do a pissing contest, you know, literally and figuratively.
Boom, boom. It's just right.
Something would have been nice, but that's all right. Overall,
I did think it was weird that the Dark One just kind of sat there while he channeled the power into. Obviously, that means that the Dark One is not really real. And he can't fight back. So, and that's the one thing that I like for the time being that they've shown, and like what Moiraine has shown, is that the Dark One needs Rand. He has to have Rand to free himself. And so he can't fight back against Rand. He can't necessarily kill Rand. He doesn't want to kill Rand. If he kills Rand, he leaves himself imprisoned. Like that's kind of, you know, what they set up there. And that's even like what Moiraine said. Like Moraine's like, I'll slit his throat. Like, but the Dark One's like, you don't know. You don't know what he's doing. You don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what's about to happen. And I kind of like that. And
I thought that was cool.
And at least, you know, he's like, he's channeling. Idea. He's channeling, but why is he channeling? I love how the actor portrayed that of just like, you don't know what he's doing.
What is he doing? I don't know. I do know, but
you're gonna kill him and then he can't stop me. You know? So
I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, so overall, I would say it did at least what we had hoped. It's got me excited to see the second season. I hope that they take some of the criticisms and comments that we have made exclusively our comments. I hope they just take our feedback and they really just, you know, they use that to put themselves on better footing next time. So I will be writing a series of strongly worded letters to just let them know
they're all going to be good.
You know, what they did wrong and what they could do better next time. So that way we get a really enjoyable viewing experience for the entire season. Of course, season 2. So so stay on the lookout for that. I'll make sure to post my full letters on Instagram and Twitter. So be on the lookout.
On Twitter. You really should have a Twitter account.
I should get a Twitter account.
You should get a Twitter account. So here's my thing. I think we take this in the context of the show that we got versus the show we want. I would say overall, this is a 7.5 to an 8.
You give it a meh?
Meh. I give it a meh. I give it a 7.5 to an 8. I was definitely more engaged in this than I have been in any other.
So you mean this particular episode?
This particular episode, I give it a 7.5 to an 8. You know, overall. Now, I would say in the context of the Wheel of Time and the show that we have received, I think it's like a 9.5 because I think it's by far the best of the episodes we've received so far.
Right. Yeah. So you know what? We need a new numbering scheme. You know, we can't just do a 1 out of 10. Like it should be you know, I don't know, like there 3 Bs is the best. So it's like, you know, 1 B, a 2 B, or a 3 B. Maybe we do
how many
beers.
BookBarBros Bs they get?
Yeah, how many Bs do they get? Maybe we do it out of Bs. Maybe it's beers. Something with B. Beats, Battlestar Galactica, Bears,
Bells, and bullets.
Bells and bourbon and bullets.
Bells, bourbon, and bullets.
Yeah, we could do something like that. We'll have to think on that. We need a better ranking system. That's you know what I mean, just a little more fun. Goldblums. I know some people do Goldblums. That could be good. How many Goldblums would you give this, Justin?
I don't know the scale. 6 Goldblums.
Wow. 6 Goldblums, everybody.
Is that
I don't know. I've heard Goldblums before. It's something, I think. We'll think on it. We'll get back to y'all.
Yeah, I think so. So, but overall, I mean, overall, this episode, let's say criticisms. Do you have any big criticisms other than we talked about the dark one and about the final when he's channeling everything to the Sangreal? You think maybe there's a little something more coming other than just kind of a little light flash and the dark one's gone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it kind of got my criticisms out as we went scene by scene. I mean, there's definitely some that I have. Some of the things the characters do, I felt kind of like Nynaeve and Egwene didn't have much to do for much of the episode, and that kind of
No, not
showed.
really.
The listening to the wind thing was extremely stupid. It's just like something bad is coming. Like, yeah, no shit. They're going to see the dark one. Like, I think we can all predict that. That was just because they wanted their characters to say something, so it wasn't so long before they
To be
actually
like,
do something
the Trollocs
during
are
the
coming,
battle.
but like everyone knew the Trollocs are. They go to Faldera, and everyone's like, "Oh, we spotted this man." Like they already knew the
Yeah.
Trollocs are coming. But
So,
anyways, yeah.
so that was too bad that they're kind of sidelined there. For the most part, didn't have much to do until the very end. The continual just fake deaths, are starting to drive me crazy. I mean, you're only one season in; they've already done it many times now. If you kill someone, they got to stay dead. That's how you give it meaning. You give it stakes, and then you're literally shocked. And what if they actually just killed Moraine there? Like that would have been crazy to do.
That
Right?
would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I agree. And we even talked about Rand. Even if like the Dark One had killed Rand,
Mm-hmm.
and the story would have been Rand wasn't the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
He may have stopped the Dark One in the moment, but he wasn't the dragon. Like I could even get on board with that.
Oh yeah.
I really could.
Yeah.
But overall, I still think this episode was good. I would
Yeah.
say a little disappointed with the prologue. Like they did it. Like as soon as it started, the show started and it opened 3,000 years ago, and I was like, "Oh yes, we're gonna get the prologue. This is
Yeah.
gonna be awesome."
Yeah.
And then they cut to, like you said, domestic abuse, which obviously existed 3,000 years ago. Still, domestic abuse always exists.
Well, I think it was just a domestic dispute. We didn't see any abuse explicitly.
But
She did seem
okay,
to be
okay.
hiding bruises,
Did,
if
did
I had to guess.
did I say abuse and dispute? Yeah. Dispute.
Yeah.
A domestic dispute.
Right.
Yes, and then there's a baby there. So
Yeah.
now, who is that baby?
Right. Baby was
That
played by John Malkovich, if that's what you're
he's so
asking.
good in everything. I think I
Isn't he
say Jeff
just
Goldblum. He's
gosh.
so good in everything. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's not supposed to be Rand. That baby was born 3,000 years ago. But like, who's the baby? Like, why is there a baby there if the baby isn't supposed to be someone? I mean, they're not going to say like some person lived 3,000 years ago, right? Like, why is there a baby in that scene? I don't
Right.
understand.
They couldn't have had babies 3,000 years ago. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense for like the
Or
Dragon
3,000 years in
Reborn,
the
for
future.
Luther and Telamon to be talking to what I assume is not the Amerlin seat. Did you notice that in the translation that
Yeah,
it
it was
wasn't?
different.
It was like the Cimerlin seat or the Cimerlin seat or something like that. It was a little different.
Yeah, it was a little different.
And so, but we'll just say the Amerlin seat. And so he's talking to the Amerlin seat. But like, where are they? Like in just like his living room, and he's just like, it's good talk. Get out of here. I gotta tend to the baby before I go break the world. Like that seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, it did.
But I wanted to see the discussion with Ishmael. I wanted to see the all the dead bodies. Spoiler alert for the books all over the place. I wanted to see him go crazy. I wanted to see him break the world. And and then like that would be like a Game of Thrones Jon Snow moment where like they're panning in the baby. Are you blowing your nose off screen?
Don't worry about what I'm doing over here.
Where it's like it's on the baby, and then the camera pans out, and then it quick cuts to Jon Snow's face. Where I'm just like, you could have destroyed the world and created Dragonmount in that prologue. And then like as you create it, and then you zoom in to Dragonmount, like right when Rand's mother is like giving birth or something like we saw earlier in the other episode. I'm like, they could have tied those two things together so neatly. Yeah. And instead we just got some futuristic world where Luther and Telamon is hanging out in space in the Jetsons, living next door to the Jetsons with a baby. And then he's just like, I'm going to go make you proud of me or whatever he says. And that's like, and then that's it. That's all we get. And I'm like, that seems like a missed opportunity. Now I get that it would have been a big undertaking to do the prologue, but
But I mean,
I was a little disappointed.
with all the money they spent on the show to not do the prologue at the beginning of the show to again whet
we
everyone's
talked about that.
appetite
That was
with
a
it, just as they did with
tax
the
thing. They
book.
stole that. They stole the money and they put
I mean,
very
it's
little money into the show.
yeah, pretty clear. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's pretty much how I feel about it. I think it was good. I think it sets me up to at least be excited for a season 2. But I mean, they're gonna have to really blow my socks off. They want to hold me. A lot of problems with this first season, but finish strong, and so could lead themselves into a really nice season 2. That'd be great. But yeah, they're gonna have to work hard for my business, and they need it because I know Amazon's hurting as of late.
They are
So
hurting. They
if I'm
need
not
you.
watching, then who is?
Tyler, they need you. They
I
really
know,
need
right?
you. But
Well, that's
yeah,
why they better listen to my letters.
I would think that in the last episode review, you and I said, as long as this show gets us somewhat excited about season 2,
Yeah,
it will have been a success. And I think it did that.
mission
And
accomplished.
the number one best thing about it before we log off, I'll just say again, I've already said it, the Dark One. I
Right.
love that they portrayed the Dark One as a human being, as a real person.
Me too. And who they picked for and how he played it. He was awesome. Yeah, I think probably my favorite character I've seen thus far. I just thought he did really well the minute he was on screen. He was great.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Missed opportunities, just straying too far away from the books in season
Yeah.
1. Too early on, changing things unnecessarily. Game of Thrones is great because they adapted right away. And then it was as they got away from the books is when they struggled. And this show's really gotten away from the books very, very early. So
And
I
they
think
have
that's
so many of them to go off of. It seems crazy to even have to stray so far.
so
But
much material. They have twice as much, 3 times as much material as the Game of Thrones showrunners had. But anyways, all right, that's it. Any departing final words, or are we done? We wrapping this?
I think that's it, man. I think there it is. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. And I think that we can bring this to an end.
I think we can. And by the way, you said that several times in our videos, and I don't think you have mispronounced it once. And that's very impressive.
Well, thank you. I do my best.
What a way to go out. Thanks for joining us, everybody.